Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of reflections. My name is Kezia Elena Ekwaru, and I am a creative rooting for creatives. I love God, I love creativity, I love business, and I love love. So today we're going to continue talking about the power of adoption. We started last week, and if you want to find out what I'm talking about from the beginning, you can go back and watch last week's episode. I recommend that you do so that you understand where we're at right now. So the power of adoption, part 2. I just want to start by acknowledging that what I'm going to teach today is what I'm learning, and what I taught last week is what I'm learning. This is what I'm learning in the different growth spaces that I'm in, but also this is what I'm learning at church, at Worship Harvest. And so I can vouch for these things on the basis of my experience, that I have also experienced these and that they are true. Yeah. And I want to propose that whether you're a church going person or not, this is very valuable knowledge, I believe. And however, it would be amazing if you found a church to plug into and you got grounded. Yeah, because then you'll flourish. But let's get right to it. Yeah. This is what I've been thinking about, what I've been learning, what I am also teaching now and passing on. And last week we started by talking about the power of adoption and looking at the fact that Abraham in the Bible, Abraham was Jesus' father by adoption. Abraham Jesus was in Abraham's lineage by adoption, yeah, through Joseph. And similarly, we are adopted into the family of Christ because, it's not a biological thing. We are adopted into the family of Christ as Christians. And that's how we get our salvation. And when we become Christians, that's how we get our inheritance, our spiritual inheritance, because we're adopted into the kingdom of God. And because we're adopted into the kingdom of God, we have access to so many different things. We have access to so many different blessings because we're called children of God. And because we're called children of God, everything that God has for us, we have access to. Yeah. So that's some awesome acknowledgement. So we're going to continue today. So what are these things that we have access to because of adoption? I want to start by sharing the benefits of adoption. Okay. The benefits of adoption, remember our contexts raised so far, and also the fact that I said when you're in a church and you have pastors, those are your spiritual parents. Yeah. And when some of the other categories that adoption applies to are mentors and coaches. Okay. Mentors and coaches. Why? When you choose someone to mentor you, you are ideally saying that I would like you to watch over me. And when you choose someone to coach you, you're saying the same thing, perhaps in a more structured environment. And so you're essentially saying that there is a thing that these people have that you would like to have as well. Yeah. And so you want them to guide you through. Similarly, when you choose a church to belong to, you are choosing it because you like something in that church. And so because you like something in that church, there's a conscious decision to stay in that church. And please do not think that it's by chance that you just happened to be there. You just happened to go to the church. You just happened to be drawn to a certain individual and seek their mentorship. Don't think that you just happened to want to learn from a certain person. All of these things are divinely orchestrated. And your natural gravitation towards them results in a conscious decision to follow them and to listen to their advice and to do what they're telling you to do. And so before we go deeper into how to properly follow and how to properly listen and obey the instructions of the people who are being given watch over you, who you have chosen to give watch over you. I would like us to first talk about some of the benefits of adoption, okay? And we'll talk about those ways of how to follow properly next week. But this week, I just want us to talk about the benefits and soak ourselves in the benefits of adoption. The first benefit is you are able to get an inheritance as a result of the adoption. What do I mean? You are able to get an inheritance from these people, yeah, because of a result of that relationship that you have with them. You learn from them, you see the things that they do, you observe, you hear, and then you go ahead and do the things that they are doing, yeah, and that helps you to get an inheritance. However, there's some things that are inherited without any effort whatsoever, apart from just being present, yeah. And so you're able to receive an inheritance of what the other person has, simply because you have chosen to be adopted by these people. And so what are some of these things that you can inherit? You can inherit gifts and talents. I'll give an example. If you're a musician and you hang around another prominent musician, you are going to get some of what they have, yeah? And this is the oldest form of teaching. You would go and apprentice at someone, at the place of someone, or you would go and apprentice with someone before formal education appeared. So if you want to be a carpenter, you go and actually work day in, day out with another carpenter. And so you would apprentice and become an apprentice. And so that's how you would learn. And so it's no wonder, therefore, that you will receive the things that they do, the way they do things, even subconsciously and consciously. Yeah, you will receive what they have. On a different note, you will also receive habits. So in line with being around people that you want to learn from, whether it's your pastors, your mentors, your coaches, you will receive some of their habits, because you will be learning from them and unconsciously even, you know. And so if they keep time, suddenly you start to keep time. If they pronounce a certain thing a certain way, you'll find that you're also taking up some things a certain way. One of my pastors, Pastor Angela, likes to say, as in, I did not notice that. I was also saying, I had also adopted that. And so some things are passed on even without any conscious effort on your part, but subconsciously you pick up habits. And another thing that you pick up is you pick up attitudes. So you pick up attitudes. If the person is a very positive person, you'll find that you're more positive. And so being around people that you are meant to receive from, you will be able to get an inheritance of something that is upon their life. And spiritually speaking, some of the things you'll never know how they are transferred. You can say that the phrase "azin" was transferred because I kept on hearing her say it. However, there are things that you can't explain how they're transferred, you know. Some things are spiritual, like having a good marriage. You can't say that, okay, I saw and then she did A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Some things, of course, will be consciously noticed. However, there's some things that you just find yourself having as a result of being a child of someone, or being adopted by someone, being a mentee, being someone who is coached by another person. And so some things are just passed on. Yeah. And that is number one, the number one benefit of adoption, being able to receive an inheritance that you otherwise wouldn't have had access to if you did not embrace that relationship. And then the second thing is you were able to reach your destiny and fulfill your God-ordained purpose. For me, this is the biggest reason. Achieving your God-ordained purpose. And I'm going to tell you a few stories. I joined Worship Harvest Bukolobi in I think about 4 years ago, 2017. And when I joined, I just felt drawn to that particular location. I did not know why, but when I stayed longer, I kept on being intrigued by the pastors in at that location, and I also kept on being intrigued by all the other pastors, at the church. And there were things that I liked, things that I felt, were pulling me closer. Yeah. And right now I can look back and say it was God's divine plan, and I can put names to some of those things. For example, I love music, and music um, is something that's truly appreciated. And also our pastor Angela is an A class musician. And so I that's a thing that I love music. It's no wonder that I am under the leadership of someone who is an excellent musician. And I want to receive some of what she has, then there are other things she loves. She's a creative. She loves creatives. I was in a mastermind where she was talking about her dreams, and some of the things, word for word, are some of the things that I want to achieve as far as creatives and creating spaces for creatives are concerned. Yeah. And so, I can't explain it. And yet God drew me to this place, and then I chose to remain and I chose to learn. And that doesn't mean that I've been an excellent follower. Please don't get me wrong. There are times that I lose sight of why God has called me into that space. There are times that I lose sight of the fact that he loves me so much that he has given me spiritual parents to guide me along my journey to fulfilling my destiny. There are times that I lose sight of the fact that there are things in me, there are gifts in me that will be unlocked by this particular set of pastors that I am under, and so I lose sight of some of these things, and then I become slow to obey and disobedient in some situations. I have been, and so it's not a thing that I'm proud of, and we have to then call ourselves to conscious to remind ourselves consciously that we need to pause. We need to pause and actually remember why God has placed us there. And two other things quickly. I'm also drawn to a lady called Mrs. Natasha Rugadiri. I feel like I call her, she's a gift. She really is a gift. She's like a creative mother. She's an interior designer, and I'm just drawn to her, drawn to her personality, drawn to her. And there's again, the people that God gives you to guide you along your path in life are people who are going to unlock something in you that's already there, but it won't be unlocked if you don't have this guidance, if you don't have these people over you. Yeah. And so I just want to ask us, who has God placed over us? Is it that there's someone you're drawn to mentor you? Is it that there are some coaching programs you want to attend because the coaches have certain qualities that you want? Is it that in your church you have great pastors who are leading you to your destiny and purpose, but you have failed to recognize that, or consciously pay attention to that, and therefore you're being denied of your inheritance, of an inheritance, and you're being denied of acceleration towards your purpose and destiny? So I'm just going to stop here, and we'll continue next week, where I will start by talking about how to follow properly and the dangers of not following properly. And so thank you for joining me this week. See you next week. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been educative. I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications bell, and like, leave a comment, and see you next week. I'm Kezia Elena Koru, a creative rooting for creatives. See you next week. Bye.